ABC24 This Week starts right now.
Hello, and thank you for watching ABC24 This Week. I am your host, Pepper Baker. You are here for the real stories behind the big stories, and I hope you'll continue to join us every Sunday at either 9 a.m., 10:35 p.m., or on 24+. All right, let's see who's at the table today. As always, ABC24 political analyst Otis Sanford. We have former Memphis City Council Chair and former Shelby County Schools Board Member Scott McCormick, and we have First Baptist Church Broad Pastor Keith Norman. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, let's get to the topics. First, we are getting into Tennessee's 5th Congressional District, discussing 2 top Democratic candidates and a controversial tweet from the Republican incumbent. Second, Elvis Presley Boulevard has been under construction the entire time I've been in Memphis. And this week, there's an update on completion, but people aren't really happy about it. Lastly, Memphis police has eyes in the sky with new drone surveillance technology, but is it ethical? Plus, the DOJ is touting Memphis as a model city for a new initiative for other cities to apply for a task force, but it's not quite the same deal as Memphis. But let's get back to number 1. Under Tennessee's new congressional map, District 5 makes up northwest Shelby County into downtown Memphis. On the Democratic side, we spoke with Memphis City Councilwoman Yolanda Cooper-Sutton and Columbia Mayor Chaz Mulder this very week. Now, Cooper-Sutton was confident in her effective leadership on the council and how she's advocated for Memphis's underserved population. Mulder leaned into his experience to defeat Republican candidates in a county that Trump won by a large margin, and he has experience passing 7 balanced budgets as Columbia's mayor. Here's a part of their answers when I asked how they'd stand out against Democrats in the primary and then the Republicans in the general election, namely incumbent Andy Ogles.
Incumbent Andy Ogles, don't know anything about him, never been afraid of a good fight. I love the challenge. I like being the underdog. I was the underdog in the city council race, wasn't I?
That's a good point.
I was there. I was the underdog. Not one endorsement. Nobody celebrated me. I was even told you shouldn't even run because you don't have enough name recognition. But I'm here now. Don't have $1 million, don't have 2, don't have 3. But I know somebody that has a bank account that never runs out. My focus is what I have to say and be committed to and responsible for and accounted for. Nobody's never a challenge for me. I'm a challenge for them.
People want to invest in a campaign that they think has the best opportunity to win. And we believe we're best positioned to win in November. We've been able to be very successful in our fundraising efforts. We raised $500,000 on our launch day in September, which was more money than had ever been raised in 24 hours in the state of Tennessee, Republican or Democrat. I don't say that to brag. I say that to point out that these races are unfortunately very expensive. And in order to be successful in November, you have to be able to raise the resources necessary to win. We've evidenced that we can do that. When the voter starts to learn who Andy Ogles is and what Andy Ogles has done, they're going to realize that they have a very clear choice between a candidate like me that's going to go fight for them and has a track record of bringing people together and finding solutions for the greater good, or they can find a guy like Andy Ogles who's been under federal investigation his entire congressional career.
Republican incumbent District 5 Congressman Andy Ogles had a bit of a controversy that did make headlines this week. On Tuesday, June 2nd, a now deleted social media post on X read, "Homosexuality has no place in America. Happy Nuclear Family Month." It was deleted after drawing backlash from both Republican and Democratic elected officials. We included those responses on this story on the ABC24 website. Real quick here, later that day, Ogles followed up with another post saying, "Earlier today, while working on the farm, my phone began going crazy because of a post made by a member of my comms team. The post was stupid, hurtful, and complete distraction from my America First focus. The employee has been reprimanded." All right, we're going to open up to discussion. Quick note, we are scheduled, or I'm working to confirm with Ogles' team for an interview this upcoming week, so that is in the works. But Otis, I want to go ahead and open it up to you. I guess we have to go with the latter part, just the reaction from those tweets. Do you think it was a mistake?
Oh, well, I mean, no, it was not an honest mistake. Andy Ogles is who Andy Ogles is. And if you look back at his record, he's had a lot of intolerance for a lot of people. It wasn't just the LGBTQ plus community, it's been immigrants. He said this country, there's no place in this country for immigrants. So this is just part of the course for him. And to blame it on an underling, which is right out of the Trump playbook, if you ask me, doesn't cut it. And it just shows, and I've said this before, before, Andy Ogles is the weakest incumbent in the Tennessee Congressional District. If anybody is beatable in November, it's him. And so people in that new District 5, they need to be looking closely at picking someone other than Andy Ogles because he's a disaster.
Scott, I'll go to you. You can definitely react to that, but I did want to ask you who you think has the strongest campaign on both sides.
I think in the Democratic side, it's Chaz Mulder. I think he's raised the funds. He's like a good product, for the electorate. And I'm not so sure. I think Ogles is the incumbent, and the incumbent always has an advantage, except for I think he's been shooting himself in the foot. So I think that's going to be a very interesting race, providing that they both win their primaries. But that's who I predict will be on the ballot in November. It will be Mulder versus Ogles.
Pastor Norman, I want to ask you, and as I admire Councilwoman Cooper Sutton for focusing on herself, because sometimes when you focus too much on others, you lose, your pace in the race, I guess. But do you think that it is important to know who you're up against and their background and maybe use that to your advantage?
Of course it is. It's always important to study the landscape and to make sure you're well aware of the candidates and all of the people, their strong suits and their weaknesses. And then you focus on introducing yourself and not speaking too much about your candidates, but the way you introduce yourself is by talking about the things that you do well and talking about the things that you plan to do well, which happen to be things that your opponent is not doing well. Right. And so you don't have to mention their name, you just have to offer a better candidacy. I do want to go back to something that Otis said that I think is extremely important. Look at Ogles' record. Since 23, he's been in the office, and we know enough about him. And so even though the incumbent, as Scott said, normally has an advantage, this time the incumbency can be a disadvantage because we have a body of work in a new district, so to speak. When you look at this gerrymandered district, this is the one where I think the Tennessee legislature overplayed their hand, and they did not do the study very well. They had to go all the way up to the border of Kentucky, come across the top of Tennessee, and draw back down into the middle just to get enough people in that district. And in some of those areas, they are not as well populated, and the voting turnout is not very good. I won't call the counties out, but there are some spaces there.
And remember, Mulder's father-in-law is the mayor of Ripley.
Right, and Mulder has a strong base in the center, and he is wise. He began his campaign in Memphis. And so that lets me know he's reaching down to get those voters.
Yeah. And that goes to something that Scott said, that, and I think you're right on this, Scott, that Mulder is the odds-on favorite to win the Democratic nomination, primarily because he is more well-known in this new gerrymandered district, which I'm now calling Thievery 901. But Yolanda Cooper Sutton, who's a nice lady, I've met her, she has no name recognition outside of Memphis, and not a whole lot here. Plus, she was involved in a pretty tough controversy back in December when she accused the Memphis Fire Department of raping the city over that 2% a salary increase. That's not going to bode well. If she gets the nomination, you can bet that as bad as Ogles is, they're going to hammer her to death about that issue singularly, and the people who don't even know her up in those areas of Northwest Tennessee, what they will find out about her is going to be very negative.
Now, we do know Chaz Mulder has over $1 million in his campaign budget, too, and Yolanda Cooper Sutton doesn't feel at least threatened at all about her bank account or campaign balance. Do you all think money actually matters, or can you do a grassroots campaign and
Absolutely.
Get
This man has run for office.
Money is the mother's milk of politics. And
Susan Thorpe.
All right, now those are fighting words. I love you, Susie. But you know, if she were, if her District 8, she's Super District 8, it's a small area. But with the vast area that she has, it just takes money to communicate. I mean, TV, radio, whatever, it takes up to cover, I think it's what, 6 or 7, maybe 5 to 6 counties?
Yeah.
Oh, it's more than that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's quite a few.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
quite a
I mean,
few.
it's a large area. So,
Lot
I mean,
more
you have different markets that you have to buy, and that just takes money.
So let me say this, that money is unfortunately the mother's milk of politics. And messaging should be what we're focused on, and a person's ability to communicate that message is based on money. And so, you know, you got to raise money. So Yolanda Cooper Sutton can get out there and raise money. She is a faith person, and she relies a lot on her faith. And being a person of faith, I understand that. So I don't want to discount that, but I will say, you know, even in the church, we say, no money, no mission. You know,
All right, so
gotta have.
the two people after the primary you think will be facing off?
The two people I think will be Ogles and Chaz Mulder.
What about you, Scott? You said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question about it. And frankly, if the Democrats really, to Keith's point, if they really want to pick off this seat, and there's a possibility they can pick off this seat.
This is the one. This for sure.
With all due respect to
Both
Ms.
two can.
Cooper Sutton.
Yeah, no disrespect. to her.
No disrespect
Yeah,
at
of
all.
course,
I
of
mean,
course.
she served on the city council. She's very zealous in getting her messages across and doing what she wants to do. But Chaz Mulder is the person that the Democrats need to look at if they want to take this.
All three are in play. 5 has the strongest opportunity.
Absolutely.
All 3 are in play.
All right, well, a
disagree.
lot remains to
All
Yeah, I
3
don't
are
know
in
about
play.
that.
Real quick.
I don't think all
I'm the
three.
Democrat on this panel.
I think-
All 3.
I will make my prediction.
Get out and vote.
David Kustoff wins 8. Brent Taylor wins 9.
Get out and vote.
District
All 3
5
are in play.
That's up in the air.
Okay, well, a lot remains to be seen on that one. Thank you, gentlemen. When we come back, we're going to talk about a large construction project in Whitehaven that seems to be delayed. We'll get into it.